Tonight, I am happy to introduce John Kohler. If you haven't heard of John, John has been kind of a fixture for quite a while in the local raw community. I've seen him speak before and really enjoyed tonight's topic. I listened to him speak on this topic and really left me with some really good food for thought. John began his raw journey because of some really serious health issues, and I'm sure that he will tell you about that, about part of his journey. He's helped thousands of people in the last decade plus via his website, which is livingfoods.com, and his coaching services. He's also the webmaster for discountjuicers.com, so any raw appliances that you need or information about it, he's definitely the man to go to. He knows his stuff, and he's got whatever you need there. Tonight's topic is just because it's raw doesn't mean it's healthy. Something all of us could take a moment to think about. So please put your hands together for John Kohler.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Okay, so for tonight, I'll be talking about just because it's raw doesn't mean it's healthy. And this is, I'd first like to maybe get into an introduction about myself and tell you about myself and how I got into raw foods. So, all started when I got spinal meningitis, actually. I was actually just out of college, had graduated from Sonoma State here, and I actually moved up to Sonoma County to attend Sonoma State, and I liked it so much I stayed. And I had spinal meningitis, and I was put into the hospital at Kaiser in Santa Rosa. And I mean, I thought I ate pretty good. I was pretty much a vegetarian, hadn't eaten red meat for years, had, read all my ingredient labels, thought I was doing, the right thing, but I guess it still wasn't good enough, and I got meningitis. I was in the hospital. I remember waking up while I was in the hospital and in the intensive care unit, and the doctor said that I might not make it out of the hospital alive. And here I am, just graduated college, starting my life, never fallen in love, never made the American dream of the $1 million or the Corvette 1969 with T-tops, all those things that a kid wants. And here I am, oh my God, I might not make it out of here. This is not a good place to be. So, I mean, that was really hard for me to deal with at the time. Luckily, I made it through, conventional methods or higher powers, I'd like to say, because at that point, even if I had the $1 million and wrote the doctor a check for $1 million, said, do not cash this check unless I walk out of this hospital, he couldn't have guaranteed anything. So I'm glad to be alive today. But when I got out of the hospital, he told me something interesting. He said, the reason why you got the meningitis, a lot of people carry it around, like people carry around the common cold, the flu, but not everybody gets it. You could be next to somebody at your work or, at the school or wherever with the flu or a cold, and you just don't get sick. Well, why is that? Well, we all have immune systems. And unfortunately for me, he said, John, you have a chronically weak immune system. It's called complement immune deficiency. So that's what he said I had, and it kind of like, just knowing my background with health, when I was a kid, I was born with asthma, allergies, eczema, ichthyosis, which are all basically immune deficiency kind of diseases. So from the time I was a kid, I always had some immune challenges going on, and then it really bit me later when maybe I wasn't doing the right things, feeding my body the right foods and fuels to keep me healthy. And is my voice loud enough so that I don't have to use a mic? This is really, okay, cool. If you have a problem hearing me, just let me know. I'd rather just have my hands free and just talk to you guys instead of trying to hold that mic. I don't do well with mics. So anyways, I got out of the doctor told me I had a complement immune deficiency. And then I knew at that point that I was, number one, glad to be alive, but number two, I knew I needed to build my immune system because he said, like, if you have cancer or something else, you could get a reoccurrence. So not that, like, spinal meningitis was left anywhere inside me. I was healed from that incident, but, I could get it again, and my immune system was weak, so that I'd be more susceptible to getting it again or any other disease that's out there again, and maybe not being as lucky the following time. So me coming from a place where I almost lost my life, I'm like, I had a value shift. My values changed when I was actually in the hospital. from maybe wanting the American dream to having like $1 million, which, you know, we're all kind of taught or, you know, led to believe that that's what we're supposed to want in life, to just wanting my health because I almost lost it. And unfortunately, most people in our society today don't come from that aspect, you know, and their values. They have, you know, other values that take precedence over their health, whether it's their loved ones, which is, you know, I think great, but without your health, you can't do anything else in life, in my opinion. So that's how I got into raw foods. I knew I needed to make some changes with my health and my immune system and build that up, but I didn't know how at that point. So I was, my last corporate job, like right after this happened, I was working at Chuck E. Cheese, so I got to eat, as a manager there, I'd get to eat free pizza. It had a little belly on me, and it wasn't the healthiest thing to do. But then my work was interfering with my sleep, and I knew even before I got into raw foods that sleep was very important for healing, because every morning I'd have to get to this, you know, Chuck E. Cheese to open it up and be there at 8 o'clock in the morning to open the door to let the employees in so they could, you know, par-bake pizza dough. And I'd hit the alarm, you know, off, and I'd almost get written up for not being in on time because my body really wanted to sleep more, and I would have to wake up my alarm because then I was valuing my work more than my sleep and my health and my healing. But, you know, I did that until the one day I finally said, you know, I can't do this anymore. I left the job because, you know, I knew I needed my sleep, whether it was, you know, just innately knew that, you know, I mean, when we're sleeping, we're healing, and if you're waking up with an alarm, you have to hit it off and hit the snooze a couple times before you get up. You're robbing yourself of sleep. So my rule nowadays is, you know, I go to bed when I'm tired, and I wake up whenever I wake up, whatever time that may be. And that way I know my body's getting enough sleep. I mean, most animals probably do that. You know, why don't we? Well, we have jobs and stuff, so we can't. So, but once again, you know, it comes down to values. So I knew I needed to build my immune system, so I quit my job. That probably helped me a little bit because I was getting more sleep at that point. I moved out to Alabama, and that was a whole new journey because I'd always lived my life in California. So just moving out there to see, you know, just different interactions with people and how people talked and thought, and everything was really unique and interesting. But while I was out there, I learned something pretty interesting. It was on an infomercial on TV, since I was watching a lot of late night TV there without much else to do. And I saw Jay Cordage, the juice man. And he started, you know, juicing with his juicer. You know, I don't know, a lot of people are familiar with Jack LaLanne nowadays. Jay Cordage was a real guy that started doing this, you know, I don't know, geez, 20 years ago. And he said you could build your immune system by juicing as he's shoving in carrots into the juicer. And that's all I needed to hear, was that you could build your immune system with juicing. And I'm like, wow, I need to build my immune system. I've known this, but now you know, this is the light. I'm seeing the light. So I got on the phone, ordered the $200 juicer off his infomercial, and the lady says, okay, it'll be there in 2 weeks. I'm like, 2 weeks? I need it now. So I didn't have the juicer. I went down to the local Walmart figuring, oh, they sell juicers, you know, and as luck would have it, a juicer was on clearance sale for, I don't know, $23 or something. Like, great, $23. I'm like, wait, well, why did I just spend $200 for the Juice Man's juicer? Well, you know, that one's coming, but I'll buy this one for now. Took it home, started juicing, and the motor stopped and it started smoking and making a funny smell. And I'm like, man, what's that? Maybe this is why it was on clearance, because it's just defective and not working right. So as luck would have it, I took it back and they had one more left. So I brought that one home and the same thing happened. And then I kind of like realized, okay, maybe it's just not that powerful. You can't juice straight parsley like he was juicing on the infomercial. So I was a little bit nicer on the juicer, not feeding anything as fast, but I've noticed, you know, there's a lot of pulp, you know, wet pulp, and not a lot of juice made with this, well, you know, $23 Walmart juicer. Well, so I finally got the Juice Man juicer, and it worked a lot better, you know, than the Walmart juicer. But then, you know, I didn't really change my diet too much. I started juicing for breakfast instead of eating my normal breakfast, and then I'd have my normal lunch, which was pretty much vegetarian. And then in the late afternoon, I'd have another just juice snack, and then at night, I'd have my normal dinner. So that way, I was incorporating more, you know, live foods into my body. Little did I know that it was live foods or raw foods. The one thing with the Juice Man that I ordered, probably better than the juicer itself, were 6 cassette tapes that came along with the juicer. And on some of the cassette tapes, he talks about, you know, for your hair, you want to juice, you know, celery, parsley, apple, or, you know, for the best lemonade, you want to juice, you know, apples and lemon. I mean, that's it. The apples give it the sweetness, and the lemon gives it the lemon flavor, you know. And it's great, no sugar needed.